The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 12 of MMA to the Max. I am your host, Robert Taylor, and unfortunately, I am not joined by my co-host, Joseph Hudson, tonight. He had some personal family matters to take care of. I'm going to be handling this episode solo, so bear with me. There wasn't any UFC fights this past weekend, but before we do have a couple of reviews. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. We only have one review of the most recent Bellator fight, Paul Daley versus Lorenz Larkin, and boy did that show actually prove a lot about the talent in Bellator, so I can't wait to talk about it. Also, we have some comments about I'm sorry, I keep saying we, that's just what I do. I'm used to it. I have some comments on the things Conor McGregor had been saying recently in the news. Man says he's going to defend a title. Will it happen? I don't know, we'll see. But let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about Bellator. I don't know if anybody watched it, but that was Bellator 183. Daley versus Larkin, and I don't know about anybody else, but that proved a lot about the talent in Bellator because Daley finishes Lorenz Larkin in the second round. It looked a little scary in the first round for Daley. Lorenz Larkin was kind of putting the pressure on him and controlling the center of the octagon and controlling the clinch, but as soon as they separated in the second round, he got nailed by spinning back fists from Daley. And then a couple of left hands puts him out. Refs jumps in about 2.5 minutes into the second frame. Paul Daley's one of those guys that he should be in the UFC. He's got the talent. A lot of us remember what happened the last time he was in the UFC. He got wrestle fucked by Josh Koscheck, and then after the fight, he was so pissed off that he took a swing on him. That earned him a lifetime ban from the UFC. Whether or not that stays in effect for the rest of his career, we never know. But so far, it's been shown to be true. I don't agree with it, personally. I did at the time, but the man's talent is just undeniable, and he deserves another chance in the top organization, MMA, so we'll see what happens. He called out Michael Venom Page afterwards, and that is a fight I am dying to see. MVP has got some sick striking, as does Daley, and that fight is going to be fireworks. So, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm excited to see that. Roy Nelson made his Bellator MMA debut, beating Jay Ayala by a unanimous decision. I wasn't too excited about it. I'm not the biggest Roy Nelson fan. I don't know about anybody else, but damn, talk about a guy who's just past his prime and just a missed opportunity. In my mind, Roy Nelson is one of those people that if he really put his mind to it, he probably could have made 205 if he just got himself into shape. But the man liked being fat. He liked eating. So more power to him. I don't think he does much in the Bellator heavyweight division. There's a lot of talent in that division. Not great talent, but a lot of talent better than Roy Nelson, at least. So, we'll see what happens, but I have a feeling that they're going to put him up against Czech Congo or something next so that everybody can get a nice nap in during their show. Aaron Pico made a successful featherweight debut, knocking out Justin Lin in about 3.5 minutes of the first round. Uber prospect Aaron Pico, so that was really cool to see. I'm really high on Pico, I even after his MMA debut, where he lost by knockout in the first round as well. It didn't really tell the whole story of him. He was really undersized for that division, for that fight, and he really proved something in this fight against Justin Lin. He proved that not only is he a world-class wrestler, he's got some damn striking power, some knockout power, so I can't wait to see Aaron Pico's next fight. I hope everybody else is excited about it. I'm just rambling here. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm used to having a coworker or a co-host. This was kind of sprung on me last second, so bear with me, everybody. I'm just going through everything. I need to slow down. That's what I need to do. To go along with everything I was saying before about the talent, though, it's like I think the top fighters in Bellator could easily match up with a lot of the top fighters in the UFC. Paul Daly, Douglas Lima, obviously Rory McDonald's in Bellator now, but everybody knows him as a UFC fighter. We'll see what happens when that fight goes down, I think in January. Lorenz Larkin took a chance on himself by leaving the UFC when I believe he was ranked number 5 in the welterweight division to get paid more money and try to get a title shot in Bellator. Got handled by Douglas Lima, and now after the Daly fight, he's 0-2. And you gotta kind of wonder if Lorenz Larkin's going to go the same way that smooth Ben Henderson is going in Bellator, man. The only win he has in Bellator is by injury to Pitbull, so he's not looking very well. I think he's 1-3 now. That's not good for a former UFC champion. I was a big Ben Henderson fan, but I think I don't know. I don't know if he's in it or if he just doesn't have it anymore. I don't know, but he's got to find something. He's got to figure something out because he is close to being completely irrelevant in MMA. That's for damn sure. But that's all I'm going to talk about for Bellator. It's much easier to do when you have a co-host. I probably should have lined up something for today just in case, but it's Sunday evening. It's what I got to do. So thanks everybody for sticking with me so far. I hope you guys haven't turned it off, all 5 of you. I think we're up to 5 now. I don't know. I know the numbers. They're not really 5. They're more like 11, but whatever. Anyways, usually we do a beer of the week on this show. It's Sunday, though. Some of us got to work. So there is no beer of the week. But for anybody that want to know, I was drinking Modelo during football earlier today. I'm now drinking water because I have no idea what I'm doing when I do this solo, so... Anyways, Conor McGregor hopes to legitimize UFC lightweight title with long-awaited defense. I don't know if anybody caught that piece of news, but Mayweather told the crowd at his speaking sessions, one of his talking sessions, that he's already done the big money fights. He's made the big money. It's time to get to defending his title and legitimizing the sport in the rankings. He did also say he's going to wait to see what happens between Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee, and that's the part that gets me, because to me that's basically telling everybody that he's going to wait to see which one looks like the easier fight, or if they both look like they're going to be hard fights, he's going to take the Diaz fight, part 3. I can't be the only one that thinks that. That's just the vibe I got from it. Otherwise, instead of saying I'm just going to wait to see what happens, just say I'm going to fight the winner of Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee at UFC 216. That's some of that double speak that McGregor's always been good at. He's a hell of a showman, a hell of a promoter. But my money's still on the third Diaz fight. Hell, I wouldn't even rule out him going back to boxing. So at least for like Paul Magliati, I don't know. It's money. It's more money he'd make in the UFC, that's for sure, regardless of who he boxes. But I don't think he's going to fight Kevin Lee or Ferguson, depending on the win. And I don't think he's going to fight Khabib Nurmogamedov. I think he's going to fight Nate Diaz. He might even retire after the fight. I'm just going to be surprised if he even comes back. So if he does come back and does an MMA fight, I admit I was wrong, because I was telling everybody that he wasn't going to do it. I said it on this show. But apparently, what do I know? We'll see what happens. Ferguson and Lee are going to be fighting for the 155-pound interim title, UFC 216 this weekend. So that should be pretty interesting. I don't know who everybody else is picking in this fight, but I think the majority is going to be picking Tony Ferguson. I'm not gonna rule out a Kevin Lee victory because he has looked really good in his last 3 fights. So it should be interesting. We can't forget about the fact that Tony Ferguson did almost get finished by Lando Venata on short notice, and Kevin Lee sure has the power to finish Tony Ferguson. That's for damn sure. Anybody that thinks he doesn't is completely wrong. I'm sorry. It's Kevin Lee has the power to do it. Does he have the experience to go 5 rounds with Tony Ferguson? I don't think so. I think Ferguson probably finishes him in the 4th round with a submission, maybe even get the TKO. But in those first 2 rounds, I think Kevin Lee can put fists on Ferguson's face. I think he can put hands on him. So I'm looking forward to this fight this Saturday. It's going to be very, very interesting. Speaking of that interim title fight, I don't know if anybody else saw this, that UFC officials confirmed that they had offered Khabib Nurmagomedov the interim title fight with Tony Ferguson. Unfortunately, Khabib had to turn it down. They wanted him to fight November 4th at UFC 217 in Madison Square Garden, which, as we all know, is being headlined by Michael Bisping and George St. Pierre, with Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw and Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Rose Namajunas. All 3 title fights on that show. They were looking at Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson for the interim title. Nurmagomedov couldn't make the date. He said he wasn't going to be able to fight until December, and so they moved on to Kevin Lee. I don't know what's going on with Khabib. I'm personally on record as thinking Khabib's the best lightweight in the entire world, but I think he's got some issues with his weight. He needs to get that under control before even thinking about coming back to fight. He needs to get off that tiramisu diet. That's for damn sure. It's a shame that we're probably never going to get that Tony Ferguson Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. I just think it's one of those cursed fights that's just never going to happen. Kind of like the Randy Couture and Fedor Emelianenko fight that we all wanted so long ago, as well as the Anderson Silva George St. Pierre fight that we never got. I just think Nurmagomedov and Ferguson's going to be another one on that list. Yeah, it's a shame. But UFC 216 is coming up, and that is this Saturday, October 7th. I think I got that date right. Do I got that date right? I'm pretty sure I got that date right. Yeah, Saturday is the 7th. Main event, Tony El Cucuy Ferguson and the Motown phenom Kevin Lee for the interim lightweight title. The GOAT, in my mind, greatest of all time because he's clean, doesn't get popped unlike some other quote-unquote GOATs. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson going for the record-breaking 11th title defense as he takes on number 3 ranked in the division Ray Borg. Former heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdum taking on the no longer retired Derek Lewis. And Beneil Dariush taking on Evan Dunham, who's also been on a tear lately. Evan Dunham, I believe, is on like a 5-fight win streak, which is really nice to see him pick up his winning ways again because he was on a roll in the UFC. I believe he was undefeated. He got to 10-0 or 11-0. It could have been more until he got completely robbed against Sean Shirk. And then the fight after that, knocked out by Melvin Gillard, which during that time Gillard was on a roll as well, so it wasn't really a shame to be knocked out by him. But he's been up and down ever since. It's good to see him back on a winning streak. Good to see him back on the main card. As of right now, they only have 4 fights set for the main card. 4 fights set on the preliminary card on FX, not Fox Sports 1, and then 4 fights on Fight Pass. I expect that to change. I'm pretty sure they're going to move a couple of those fights. I just don't see how they're going to keep only 4 fights on the main card when it's always a 5-fight card on pay-per-view. So yeah, like I said, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee. I've got Tony Ferguson winning that fight, probably 4th round submission. Mighty Mouse is going to absolutely demolish Ray Borg. There's not a chance in hell. I know they say anything can happen in MMA. Not this time. Not when it comes to Mighty Mouse. There's nobody at the flyweight division that's going to even be able to touch him. And I think after he makes this title defense and breaks the record, we're going to see him in the cage at 217, to go face-to-face with the winner of Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. Whether or not it's for a 135-pound title or for the 125-pound title with the winner of that fight dropping down, I don't know, but that's just my prediction. So we'll see what happens. I've been pretty good on this lately. I've been pretty good with predicting fights. On this show, I predicted Cynthia Calvillo, her next fight should be against Carla Esparza, and lo and behold, they booked that fight. So I got that one right. Oh. Yeah, this is horrible. I'm actually kind of tempted not to push this one out. Ooh. Anyways, how much more can I talk about MMA? I feel like I'm talking about myself. Anyway, I mean, we did get an announcement of Dominic Cruz and Jimmy Rivera as well. That's another fight that I had predicted and wanted on the card. Then again, I can't take full credit for it because Jimmy Rivera did call out Dominic Cruz, so that happened. But that's announced for UFC 219, December 30th. I believe that's the same day that Carla Esparza and Cynthia Calvillo are also going to be fighting. So, I'm starting to think that Sean Shelby and Gray Maynard secretly listen to the show, which would be really cool. If you do, guys, just why don't you give us a follow? That'd be pretty awesome. The show would be so much better if I had somebody to argue with. It's just me talking to myself. I'm not Chael Sonnen. I don't like to talk to myself. I don't like to hear myself talk. But that's what I guess what I'm going to do. I'm just going to ramble. Hope everybody doesn't mind hearing it. I mean, how much have I really recorded so far? 17 minutes? Gotta at least go to a 25-minute show. I just want to get some content out for everybody. Anyways, how's everybody's fantasy football doing? Everybody doing great? Speaking of fantasy, I do have a fantasy UFC league set up in the UFC fantasy page, so I'm currently in the lead, as expected. I've been winning for the last couple of years. If anybody wants to join, hit me up. Let me know. It starts on the new year, and everybody can join. You got to pay to enter. When there's top 3. Yeah, everybody's going to pay in through PayPal. We usually do about $50 a year for the entire year, and then top 3. But I'm probably going to drop it, especially if I get more people in. There's about 12 people in the league right now, so you do the math on what kind of payout first place gets. So yeah, just go to either Instagram, Twitter, get a hold of me. Even go to the Facebook page, let me know you want in. And I'll be posting it on the page so you guys can click the link and join. Just know that when you click the link and join, you're going to have to send the money to PayPal at the beginning of the year. Just a heads up. Man, this is a horrible podcast. I have no content to put out, really. This is not fun without somebody to argue with. This is not fun. Jesus. I thought I was going to have an easy time to do this, but this is not fun without somebody to play off of. Whew. You know, screw it. I just wanted to get some content out. This would just be a quick episode. Just to keep us in the stratosphere, keep us on everybody's mind. If you want to follow the show, you can always go to facebook.com/MMA to the Max show. Facebook.com/MMA to the Max podcast. Twitter is at MMA to the Max show. Get a hold of me on Instagram at MMA to the Max Rob. Get a hold of Joe on Instagram at MMA to the Max Joe. And you can let us know how much you hated the show. If you don't want to download it, that's fine. I'm just rambling. But it's only a quick 20-minute show just to get content out, so Jesus. Alright, everybody. I'm going to bed. I hope you enjoyed this episode for what it was. Well, take care. We'll see you next week to review UFC 216. And I promise it'll be better. Take it easy.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.